Hey there, this is Ethos Ananda with my first episode in Mythos, the ethos of Anakin Skywalker. Hope you like it. So, I'm going to do a three-part series, one for episode 1, 2, and 3, because they all center around Anakin. So, I'm going to trace the path of Anakin, namely from this innocent and talented young boy all the way up to becoming the Dark Lord of the Galaxy, Darth Vader. But I'm the ethos guy, so I'm going to focus on the ethos and character of Anakin, his ethics, the decisions he makes, how he makes them, how he acts, how others treat him. To learn more about ethos, you should download my book, Complete Happiness and Excellence by Way of Virtue and Reason. Okay, so we're going to jump right into where Anakin first comes in the film. And we're not going to focus on the main plot of this movie. I'm sure many other good YouTube videos on that. Liam Neeson, Qui-Gon Jinn, of course, ultimate boss, my favorite Jedi by far. He actually exemplifies my own mythos the most, my own ethos the most.
I need parts for a J-type 327 Nubian.
Ah, yes, Nubian. We have lots of that. Pinake, Cabariaco.
My droid has a readout of what I need.
Here he is.
Chat, Captain William, it wanna know bata. So, let me take that back.
Well, that wasn't the best first line for Anakin. He's kind of complaining, whining to his slave master. Although it could have been worse. I mean, he's a really young boy, so maybe just neutral for now.
You'll find what you need.
Don't touch anything.
Are you an angel?
Okay, that's Anakin's second line ever. Are you an angel? Wow. So there's already really excellent ethos here. He's brave because he's, talking to a girl older than him. No hesitation whatsoever. Very positive too. I mean, it's like a compliment, but it's also, he seems like genuinely curious too, like he's asking a question. So it's very, it's not at all creepy, which is nice. She really appreciates it, as we'll see.
What? An angel. I heard the deep space pilots talk about them. They're the most beautiful creatures in the universe. They live on the moons of Viego, I think. You're a funny little boy.
Yeah, see, she's smiling and she really wants to reciprocate the good news.
How do you know so much? I listen to all the traders and star pilots who come through here.
Okay, there's another good sign already into his character. He's always listening to others. He's very curious. That's good ethos. Which virtue of thought is that? Maybe wisdom. Those who are really wise will take close attention to others. May not agree, may disagree, but to attentively listen to others is definitely a good trait, a good virtue we should all try to model.
I'm a pilot, and someday I'm going to fly away from this place.
So he's already got a skill. He's a tiny little child. I don't know, what is he? He's 8 years old, maybe? I'm not sure. But he's a pilot. He can fly. And he already has a plan. He has an excellent plan for the future. Of course, he has an obviously limited life as a slave, so it doesn't take brain power to want to leave that situation. But he's confident. He knows exactly who he is, what he wants to do, and where he's going.
You're a pilot? Mm-hmm.
been here?
Since I was very little. 3, I think. My mom and I were sold to Gardola the Hutt, but she lost us betting on the pod races.
You're a slave?
I'm a person, and my name is Anakin.
So cute, right? So that's now we can also see his pride. His pride is showing now. Um, yeah, it's interesting. First, he admits he's a slave, and then she just reminds him, "Oh, you're a slave," and then he feels all bad about that. So, yeah, definitely pride and ego there, and this is, of course, foreshadowing to his downfall. Uh, it's like Count Dooku says, "Twice the pride, twice the fall." So this actually leads to Anakin's downfall as this pride. But as a young boy right now, it's just really cute and it's overall harmless. Um, and it's actually rare, as we'll see in later scenes. He's normally not that proud, and I think you'll see this will quickly dissipate.
I'm sorry. I don't fully understand. This is a strange place to me.
Oh, Jar Jar, Jesus.
Hey! Hit the nose!
Value, that's our problem.
Oh my God, Jar Jar sucks. Definitely the worst part of this movie. But geez. Even I saw this when I was young, and even as a kid, I didn't like Jar Jar Binks. It's like I like the idea of a different species here, but he just sucks. He's not that funny, and he's causing trouble all the time. All right, once again, Anakin Skywalker as this little boy is just perfect. He's so brave, and you see the smile on his face, right? So this is just amazing. He's standing up to one of the biggest like criminals of a different race, much older than him, with no fear whatsoever. He's actually beyond bravery. He's fearless, and he's well controlled. He's poised. He's not in the other guy's face. He it's like he's already won, and it's from that place where he's acting. Not the actor, but I mean the character Anakin here. So he's not only like yeah, he's trash talking this other guy here, but he's doing it in a funny way. So he's putting himself as one better, but in a very tasteful way. So hats off to Anakin. Really interesting. I guess they have slave rights on Tatooine, right? You would think that because Anakin's a slave, the guy can just do whatever the hell he wants with him. But yeah, I guess because he's property of someone powerful, maybe then it's more trouble for the ding dong alien guy.
Here, you'll like these pallies. Here.
Thank you.
Really cute, as always, little Anakin. First of all, generosity. I mean, without any thought to himself, he wants to give a gift. And it's cute because, here's this Jedi Master, more powerful, more honorable than everyone else here, but he's just going, hey man, come, hey, take this. It's pretty awesome. So that's magnanimity, I think. Anakin he's a child, so he's not fully conscious of what he's doing. But, well, this is actually exactly what every master wants. I can say from personal experience, I've had more than one. Um, a genuine master gets so bored by all their like gullible, what are they called, starry-eyed students who just say, "Oh yes, yes, whatever you say." So this friendly interaction between disciple and master is very rare, and when it's genuine, it's great for both parties. And so Anakin is unconsciously telling Qui-Gon, like you can trust me, and I'm a high caliber person, which is true.
Oh, my bones are aching. Stop.
So it doesn't say here, but Anakin, of course, sees the lightsaber, and he talks about that
What's
later.
coming up, Annie? You better get home quick.
Do you have shelter?
We'll head back to our ship.
Is it far?
It's on the outskirts.
You'll never reach the outskirts in time. Sandstorms are very, very dangerous. Come on, I'll take you to my place.
So once again, as soon as his grandma or someone says, "Annie, got to go home, sandstorm," he immediately asks them where they're going instead of just running along, which would be very common among kids, a young kid with, all these different races and species around them. And there's just this group of people here, strangers, but he immediately selflessly looks to them and says, "Well, what about you guys? Are you guys okay?" Um, so there's the virtue of friendship there. Friendliness. Well, it's the virtue of character friendliness and also friendship. He's treating them like they're his friends, knowing them for only a short time so far. That's um, commendable, of course. It's not always recommended because some people can betray you, but in this situation, once again, Anakin is spot on, perfect ethos.
Mom, I'm home.
Oh, this ain't cozy.
These are my friends, Mom.
Hello.
Yeah, see, he already introduces them as friends.
I'm Qui-Gon Jinn.
I'm building a droid. You want to see?
Your son was kind enough to offer us shelter.
Come on, I'll show you 3PO.
So you notice how he dragged Padme by the hand to show him the toy he's working on. What is this indicative of? It's hinting at obsession, which in this circumstance is totally fine. He's a genius. He's building a droid from scratch, and so this is showing a prodigal talent. He's so capable, he's so talented, he can do so many things. This is normally quite excellent, but of course it will eventually lead to the dark side because this kind of sheer, raw, pure talent can be manipulated by others, which is exactly what we've seen with Nikolai Tesla. He was manipulated by, the money people so they could make money off of his inventions. And that's not cool.
Isn't he great? He's not finished yet.
He's wonderful.
You really like him? He's a protocol droid to help Mom. Watch.
Also excellent. I mean, I don't know if Anakin is doing this purely to help his mom, but that's the first thing he says. So it's actually quite possible.
You're a Jedi Knight, aren't you?
That was really interesting. If you look at his eyes, that's ego. Once again, this is foreshadowing Anakin's fall. But he's so talented, so he's attracted to the power, but he's also a little bit concerned and a little bit thinking maybe he's fearful, maybe it's something he doesn't understand, and he's cautious. But he's still very direct with Qui-Gon. who is still a guest in his house, remember, and much older than him. So I think it's still showing immense bravery and wit. So once again, I still commend Anakin's ethos throughout this whole movie. He's according to the mythos of Star Wars, he's supposed to be perfect in every way here. That'll sell the drama as episode 2 and 3 come along.
What makes you think that?
I saw your laser sword. Only Jedis carry that kind of weapon.
Perhaps I killed a Jedi and took it from him.
I don't think so. No one can kill a Jedi.
I wish that was so.
I had a dream I was a Jedi. I came back here and freed all the slaves. Have you come to free us?
No.
That's significant, the dream he has. So he thinks Jedis can never be killed and they're powerful. He wants to be like that, and he wants to use his powers to help others. So with the right guidance, I mean, Anakin would easily be better than Qui-Gon, better than many other Jedis, better than many other people.
I'm afraid not.
I think you have. Why else would you be here?
Very cute innocence and very positive. Once again, tip of the hat to Anakin.
I can see there's no fooling you, Anakin.
And Qui-Gon agrees. He's a good kid and he's smart. So Qui-Gon's going to let him know. Qui-Gon doesn't have to tell him anything, but Annie has earned it from his good ethos.
We're on our way to Coruscant, the central system in the Republic, on a very important mission.
How did you end up out here in the Outer Rim?
Our ship was damaged and we're stranded here until we can repair it.
I can help. I can fix anything.
Also, if you look at the way he shook his head, he's like, well, let me do it. I'm so eager to help. Now, it's hard to say for sure when anyone is doing this. Are they eager to help for their own ego or because they're genuinely selfless and competent and ready to help? Because it's a child in this case, we normally assume that they're just selfless and ready to do the right thing, which normally is the case. And in Annie's case here, yeah, that's true.
Thing.
I believe you can. But first we must acquire the parts we need.
Waiting on nothing moolah to trade.
These junk dealers must have a weakness of some kind.
Gambling. Everything here revolves around betting on those awful races.
Pod racing. Greed can be a powerful ally.
I built a racer. It's the fastest ever. There's a big race tomorrow on Boonta Eve. You could enter my pod.
Anakin, Watto won't let you.
Watto doesn't know I've built it. You could make him think it was yours and get him to let me pilot it for you.
I don't want you to race. It's awful. I die every time Watto makes you do it.
But Mom, I love it. The prize money would more than pay for the parts they need.
He's so cute, right? So here it seems like, like I said earlier, he's a little obsessed. Like he's very talented and he just really loves pod racing and mechanical things. He just wants to, he's a boy who wants to play with his toys. And so he also wants to help his friends, but you can tell he's pleading with his mom because he really just wants to get on the race again, which is fine.
Anakin.
Your mother's right. Is there anyone friendly to the Republic who can help us?
No.
Mom, you say the biggest problem in this universe is nobody helps each other.
I'm sure Qui-Gon doesn't want to put your son in danger. We'll find some other way.
No. There is no other way. I may not like it, but he can help you. He was meant to help you.
He was meant to help you. Of course, this is how a Jedi thinks. So it's destiny. It's very easy for Qui-Gon to go along with this, whereas normally he might not, because this is a very young child, however gifted, and a slave, and some slave mother, but that's not how the Force works. The Force will accept anyone from any caste. Once again, that's true to the real world. It's not just some fantasy thing. I'm not talking about the Force, but there's real ethos that sometimes comes in poor people or rich people. It doesn't matter, but the ethos is always there. So if you're tuned to that level, you'll always win. If you have good ethos and you're dealing with other people with good ethos, which is what's happening here. The Skywalkers and Qui-Gon Jinn and Padme, totally different socioeconomic status, but very similar in ethos. That's why this story can develop, and that's why it's interesting. Because on the higher metaphysical level, they're compatible, but on the lower level material external matters, they appear so different. So our stupid senses think, "Whoa, this is such an incredible story." No, it's actually totally normal and exactly how we would expect it to happen when we focus and are centered on the moral sphere ethos.
Are you sure about this? Trusting our fate to a boy we hardly know? The Queen will not approve.
The Queen doesn't need to know.
Well, I don't approve.
Doesn't need If it's going to be 50-50,
That you step on my pod in the last race. To take some long time to fix it.
It wasn't my fault, really. Saboba flashed me with his vids. I actually saved the pod, mostly.
That you did, huh? The boy's good, no doubts there, huh?
well, I have acquired a pod in a game of chance, the fastest ever built.
I hope
That was the way he looked down at Annie was like very like very subtle and very like he didn't have to do that, but he really wanted to let Annie know that like he's a good kid and he's trusting him with this.
you didn't kill anyone I know for it, huh? So, you supply the pod, the entry fee, I supply the boy, we split the winnings, 50-50 I think, huh?
If it's going to be 50-50, I suggest you front the cash for the entry. If we win, you keep all the winnings minus the cost of the parts I need. And if we lose, you keep my ship. Either way, you win.
Deal.
Very sly, cunning smiles from both of them.
Keep my ship. You should be very proud.
Yes.
In the Republic, we...
The what?
How do you get so lucky? That is... Wow, a real astro droid. How do you get so lucky? That isn't the half of it. I'm in the Boont race tomorrow. What?
So this is all really important to see. This is how Annie is with his peers. And as you may know, this is like, well, it's a different side of us, but it might be our more truer side than when we're with strangers who are much older than us. We need to be respectful of them. So look at his face. He really can't wait to show everyone how one better to better up others. And once again, he's still doing it in an excellent way. He's not being mean about it. He's just being coy, and that's fine.
With this?
Oh, no, you're okay, Annie.
Stay still, Annie. Let me clean this cut.
There's so many. Do they all have a system of planets?
Most of them.
Has anyone been to them all?
Not likely.
I want to be the first one to see them all.
I want to be the first one to see them all. He's like half joking and half serious. And Qui-Gon picks up on that and approves with his smile.
There we are. Good as new.
Annie, I'm not gonna tell you again.
What are you doing?
Checking your blood for infections. Go on. You have a big day tomorrow.
Oh, bad Jedi. Lying to little Annie. Of course, Annie will find out later, but Annie doesn't like it. Anyway.
This is so wizard, Annie. I'm sure you'll do it this time.
Do what?
Finish the race, of course.
You've never won a race?
Well, not exactly.
Not even finished?
Kitster's right. I will this time.
Self-confidence, so excellent. But even more amazing is Qui-Gon totally trusts him. It's easier now that he knows his midi-chlorian count.
She will.
Padme doesn't.
Be safe.
I will, Mom. I promise.
You can kind of see his arms struggling there. Seems like he doesn't want to get the lecture right now, and he wants to just get ready to fly.
You all set, Annie?
Yep.
Right.
Whoa!
Remember, concentrate on the moment. Feel. Don't think. Use your instincts.
I will.
May the
By the way, this is a very common thing in New Age self-help stuff. Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts and your intuition. That's not actually wise. When your character is well developed, or if you're talented like Annie with like a high midi-chlorian count, then you can trust your instincts. If you have terrible instincts, you shouldn't trust your instincts. So that's an important thing we should all be aware of.
Force be with you.
Yes! Mom, we sold the pod. Look at all the money we have.
Oh my goodness, but that's so wonderful, Annie.
And he has been freed.
What?
You're no longer a slave.
Did you hear that?
You could see as she looked down and to the right, she knows as soon as he said that the boy was freed and she wasn't.
Now you can make your dreams come true, Annie. You're free. Will you take him with you? Is he to become a Jedi?
Yes. Our meeting was not a coincidence. Nothing happens by accident.
True, nothing happens by accident. Don't let anyone talk to you about chance or accident. They're suckers. There's only destiny. There's free will also, but there's no accidents.
You mean I get to come with you in your starship?
Anakin, training to become a Jedi is not an easy challenge. And even if you succeed, it's a hard life.
But I want to go. It's what I've always dreamed of doing. Can I go, Mom?
Anakin, this path has been placed before you. The choice is yours alone.
The sadness I think I see in Annie is not that he's going to miss his mom. It's that he's actually making an adult choice, maybe for the first time in his life. And of course, his feelings tell him that he wants to just jump on and do it, but he wasn't thinking that this is a whole new path for him that'll change his destiny. And the gravity of that really hit him.
I want to do it.
Okay, we're fast forwarding through a lot of parts here. But most of this plot line doesn't matter that much for Anakin. But this part's important.
Hello, Master Anakin.
Well, 3PO, I've been freed. And I'm going away in a starship.
Master Anakin, you are...
So already within just a day or two, his dream has been fulfilled. He's going to leave the place in a starship, and he's a pilot, so he's going to have fun learning about that. Very fortunate.
My maker, and I wish you well. However, I should prefer it if I were a little more completed.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to finish you, 3PO. Give you coverings and all. I'm gonna miss working on you. You've been a great pal.
So, yeah, that's gratitude, another virtue there. Aristotle does not talk about gratitude. And I don't either. I think it's kind of gay, actually. Gay is the wrong word, of course, but it works. It's fine. I have nothing wrong with gratitude. It works so little for me. It's so transient and temporary. I think as far as spiritual virtues go, compassion is much better. There's many, humility is better than gratitude. Yeah, humility is the real virtue there that gratitude is kind of hinting at. Great, yeah, gratitude seems like a superficial humility. I think that's a good way to think about it. So, Anakin is not just a pilot, he's a mechanic. He built a droid from scratch. So, the whole point of this first episode, I mean, there's many points, but the director, George Lucas, and anyone else who's trying to create this movie, they're trying to paint the most beautiful, perfect boy possible. So it makes it even more tragic when he falls down later on.
I'll make sure Mom doesn't sell you anything.
So even though he's leaving, he just said he'll still do his best to protect this robot, which he doesn't have to do. He can just, oh, sweet, I get to leave. I'll take my bag. I'll get the hell out of here. But, he's still being very gracious, and he's a good boy.
Sell me?
Bye.
Oh, my.
Oh, one thing that I always think about when I think about it even more when I watch episode 1. He's just a really cute boy. I'm not a pedophile, but I teach kids all the time, and boys suck. Boys are way worse than girls, and they always want to blow something up or just cause trouble, but Anakin is just super well behaved, smart, funny, and he's a boy, so he's small, and he's at the moment harmless, thank God.
I can't do it, Mom. I just can't do it.
This is very sweet. So earlier in their conversation, of course, Anakin said, "Yeah, I can't wait to go." And then he was saddened to hear that his mom can't come with him. She's got to stay there and be a slave. And yeah, as you can see here, he just can't do it. Why though? Is he so attached to his mom? That's part of it. Is he just? Is he trying to defend his mom? And he cares about her, so he doesn't want to let her go. I think this is like pride that he showed earlier when he was called a slave by Padme. This is attachment that they're showing now, and it's foreshadowing of these major sins of ethos that will eventually lead to Anakin's downfall. Pride and attachment lead to the dark side. They do.
Will I ever see you again?
I think that was bad acting there. He doesn't look like he's really crying. Anyway.
It's hard to tell you.
I hope so. Yes. I guess.
That was better.
We'll see each other again.
I will come back and free you, Mom. I promise.
Now, be brave and don't look back. Don't look.
This is really sweet also. Anakin is already very brave, but she does need to. This is a good move on Mrs. Skywalker to reinforce that and to make sure that his first step on this new journey is a good one. A man should always make a decision and stick to it, so it's important not to look back.
Are you all right?
I think so.
What was it?
It's really strange that Qui-Gon is out of breath here, because he's a Jedi Knight. And I think this is why he was killed by Darth Maul. It's not that he can't handle the lightsaber battle or he's not in good enough fitness. I think it's being in the presence of someone with that much darkness and hatred in them. It's like a spiritual fatigue. I've noticed this myself. Anyway, I think that's what's happening.
I'm not sure, but it was well trained in the Jedi arts. My guess is he was after the Queen.
What are we gonna do about it?
We should be patient. Anakin Skywalker, meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hi. You're a Jedi too? Pleased to meet you.
Yeah, smiles all around. That's a great first meeting for Annie and Obi-Wan. Of course, this will fall much lower, which is why it needs to be so good in the first place.
You all right?
It's very cold.
You come from a warm planet, Annie. A little too warm for my taste. Space is cold.
You seem sad.
That was really interesting. First, Padme thought Annie was sad, and so she went over to console him. And now he thinks she is sad. So he's reciprocating the empathy and sympathy there. Also, excellent ethos and friendship. Perfect.
The Queen is worried. Her people are suffering, dying. She must convince the Senate to intervene, or I'm not sure what'll happen.
I made this for you.
It's really amazing. It's maybe the best way to give a gift. He looks a little reluctant, but he's like, well, I made this for you. It's the ultimate generosity. If you give someone so much and you say, oh, look, this is so much that I'm giving you, it doesn't actually work. So it's kind of strange. Like we should always be honest, right? But sometimes this is the first time I've noticed this with some of the other virtues, friendliness, generosity in this case, to really be the most generous person. It's nice to sometimes bend. It's nice to sell it. When you sell your generosity, like, oh, this is nothing, but it's actually so much, then it makes it seem even greater.
So you'd remember me. I carved it out of a poor snippet. It will bring you good fortune.
But I'm confident we can overcome it.
I must be.
It's the biggest city in the whole galaxy. Annie is very impressed. starstruck.
With the Jedi Council immediately, the situation has become much more complicated.
Annie, come on.
Yeah, Annie is confused. He thought he was going to be a Jedi, but now then he's leaving the Jedi and getting on some transport with a bunch of randoms. Concerning. Not the kind of comfort a little boy needs in a big world.
The queens are being grossly nice, Mr. Tinks. Pretty hot.
That's really strange. I didn't notice that before. Does Jar Jar mean pretty hot, like she is pretty hot, or it's pretty hot outside? I think this is why many people think Jar Jar is actually a dark side Jedi or something, because Jar Jar seems to be on the side of Palpatine, trying to cause trouble everywhere. Maybe Jar Jar's trying to plant the seed of lust into Annie.
Boys here to see Padme.
Let him in.
I'm sorry, Annie, but Padme's not here right now.
Who is it?
Anakin Skywalker, to see Padme, Your Highness.
I've sent Padme on an errand.
That was a very sweet bow. Anakin is very new to this, high society environment. He's living on the sand desert place, surrounded by creepy criminal bad guys, and around these kinds of shady characters, you don't want to be too formal. They see it as a weakness. So how Anakin was trash talking Sebulba earlier, that's really the best way to do it. You have to kind of be funny and edgy to fit in. And it's really interesting that, Anakin is clearly good at this. He's been doing it his whole life. And then he comes here and he instantly fits in. And he knows the right level of humility around these VIP people.
I'm on my way to the Jedi Temple to start my training, I hope. I may never see her again, so I came to say goodbye.
We will tell her for you. We are sure her heart goes with you.
Thank you, Your Highness.
That was actually perfect. This, Your Highness, this lady here, she, she's not charmed, but I guess I am. Like, Anakin bowed, but he also had an excellent smile too, where he's kind of like winking at her, like, "Oh, I totally respect you," but it's also like, "Hey, I'll be like you one day." Anakin immediately feels compassion for his friends. Most boys his age will just like hide in the cockpit there. They won't do it. I mean, they may want to help their friends, but they'll be too scared to. But you'll see Anakin's ready to save the day.
Anakin will become a Jedi, I promise you.
This is an interesting point. Qui-Gon Jinn is so confident that Anakin will pass everything. And he's right. But, well, it's hard to say. Did Anakin bring balance to the Force? In the end? By episode 9? Maybe not.
Do not defy the Council, Master, not again.
I shall do what I must, Obi-Wan.
If you would just follow the code, you would be on the Council. They will not go along with you this time.
You still have much to learn, my young apprentice.
A ship? A cup. A ship. A speeder.
Anakin's first test, he passes with flying colors. Now, by the way, you can do this in real life. This is from The Music Lesson by Victor Wooten, I think is his name, bass player from, and he's an incredible bassist. He can slap like no one's business. So I would just do it with a rock on the hood of my car. Would you get one of your friends to put the rock on the hood and you close your eyes and you hover your hand around it until you can like sense the rock, and then you push it down and maybe you touch the rock, maybe you don't. But you can actually train your intuition to it's really spooky stuff, but it works. You can kind of like feel the rock and kind of match your vibration to the vibration of the rock, and you can feel it in your hand even when you're not touching it. When you hover over it, you can feel some heatness or something, and then touch it. So there is sixth sense, and so a lot of this Force stuff in Star Wars, it's actually real. It just doesn't, manifest the same way with like telekinesis and stuff like that. But of course, Jedi mind tricks, that's hypnosis, that's a real thing. So I actually know a lot about that too. Maybe I can do a mind control series. That's a little creepy though.
How feel you?
Cold, sir.
Honest. Simple, direct, honest answer. Great job, Anakin. Of course, he's also humbled by being surrounded by masters. He's not feeling proud right now, not at all. And that's good.
Afraid, are you?
No, sir.
See through you. We can.
How quickly Anakin said, no, sir. He really wanted to show that he wasn't afraid, but yeah, he's afraid of losing his mom, which is a fear born of attachment, but still it's kind of like fear.
Be mindful of your feelings.
Your thoughts dwell on your mother.
I miss her.
Afraid to lose her, I think.
What does that got to do with anything?
Everything.
Of course, everything is true. In episode 2, he murders a lot of innocent beings just because of his fear of losing his mother, which is not appropriate for a Jedi or a monk or anyone on the spiritual path. We have to let people die. If we can do things to save them, that's great, but this is the natural way of life. It's not our doing. It's the higher powers doing, and we have to let it come and be detached from it. That is the way.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I sense much fear in you.
Yikes. It's not a good omen from Yoda. But it's true. Anakin is very talented, but also very fearful. And so that fear can be manipulated into bringing him to the dark side.
The Force is strong with him.
He is to be trained then?
No, he will not be trained.
No.
He is too old.
He is the chosen one. You must see it.
Clouded this boy's future is.
I will train him then.
So this is, of course, a very controversial move by Qui-Gon, which changes the destiny of the whole galaxy. I would probably do the same thing in that situation, although I would only advise Qui-Gon to be a bit more detached when doing it.
I take Anakin as my Padawan learner.
An apprentice you have, Qui-Gon. Impossible to take out a second.
The code forbids it.
Obi-Wan is ready.
I am ready to face the trials.
Our own counsel we will keep on who is ready.
He is headstrong, and he has much to learn of the living force, but he is capable. There is little more he can learn from me.
Young.
That's an interesting look towards Obi-Wan. Maybe Qui-Gon doesn't want to admit that he actually has taught him everything he knows. Or maybe he's shy or a bit shamed to say that he's pushing him away faster so he can take on Annie as a Padawan.
Skywalker's fate will be decided later.
Now is not the time for this. The Senate is...
So one note about ethos here. When we're dealing with people who are close to us, it's not a good idea to just do neutral looks like that. We should be very clear about how we feel towards each other. That's honesty. And it's also when we treat someone for their sake and not our own, we know it's better for them to see our true colors. Now, in this situation, they're also in public around the council, so that's why it's complicated.
Voting for a new Supreme Chancellor, and Queen Amidala is returning home, which will put pressure on the Federation and could widen the confrontation.
And draw out the Queen's attacker.
Go with the Queen to Naboo and discover the identity of this Dark Warrior. This is the clue we need to unravel the mystery of the Sith.
May the Force be with you.
Very excellent bow by Annie. It's a deeper bow than the Obi-Wan bowed just a little bit, and Qui-Gon not at all, which is interesting. For Qui-Gon, that indicates, and it's the truth, that Qui-Gon is a Jedi Master. He is wise enough and strong enough to be on the council, but also in this situation, he's saying, I'm not so happy with the decision here.
It's not disrespect, Master, it's the truth.
From your point of view?
The boy is dangerous. They all sense it, why can't you?
His fate is uncertain. He's not dangerous.
That's the truth. But the dark side is the uncertainty itself. And that's what those who are dogmatic about the light side, they just see any uncertainty and they think, oh, this is bad. But Qui-Gon juggles between both sides. And this is why he's actually the biggest threat to Palpatine. And it's still true that it's simply uncertain. So if you kill him with kindness, if you really take care of the boy and you make sure, he can detach from his feelings for his mother and all the problems, he can become one of the good guys. There's no doubt. And what did they do with the boy? If they freed him from his, and then they take this super force sensitive boy and they just throw him out into society? That doesn't seem so good either.
The council will decide Anakin's future. That should be enough for you. Now get on board.
Qui-Gon, sir, I don't want to be a problem.
You won't be any. I'm not allowed to train you, so I want you to watch me and be mindful. Always remember, your focus determines your reality. Stay close to me, and you'll be safe.
Master, sir, I heard Yoda talking about midichlorians. I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
Midichlorians are a microscopic life form that resides within all living cells.
They live inside me.
Inside your cells, yes. And we are symbionts with them.
Symbionts?
Life forms living together for mutual advantage. Without the midichlorians, life could not exist, and we would...
So the real life corollary to midichlorians is simply consciousness. Consciousness and the soul pervades every living cell, and without which life cannot exist. That's the truth. According to the Vedas, and I'm sure in quantum mechanics and all these other things, it's becoming more and more
With
true.
no knowledge of the Force, they continually speak to us, telling us the will of the Force. When you learn to quiet your mind, you'll hear them speaking to you.
I don't understand.
With time and training, Annie, you will. You will.
Your Majesty, it is our pleasure to continue to serve and protect you.
I welcome your help. Senator Palpatine fears that the Federation means to destroy me.
I assure you I will not allow that to happen. Allow that to happen.
Yes.
You catch on pretty quick.
Yeah.
Those are the forward stabilizers.
And those two control the pitch.
You catch on pretty quick.
Once again, he's got the sly corner smile Annie has there. Yeah, he's very talented.
As soon as we land, the Federation will arrest you and force you to sign the treaty.
We are indebted to you for your bravery, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And you, young Skywalker. We will watch your career with great interest.
That's, of course, a nod to Darth Vader. It's really interesting that the Japanese style bow is the preferred bow in Star Wars. I agree. I've always felt it's the most natural way to offer obeisances.
Congratulations on your election, Chancellor.
Qui-Gon's defiance I sense in you. Need that you do not. Agree with you, the Council does.
That was really sketchy for Yoda to do. He's speaking on behalf of the whole council without ever asking them. Sure, he's the leader of the council, but why doesn't he just say me? Agree with you, I do. So this is one of the reasons why the Jedi lose the whole Republic, the whole galaxy. These are really small little problems, but they add up. It's not the right way to do this. You have to stay on the path, be honest. Those little word changes have a huge impact.
Your apprentice, Skywalker, will be.
That's a huge shot. Panning to the right to see Anakin and Palpatine and Padme and Obi-Wan all in the same image, in the same shot next to each other. Dark truth ahead of them. Qui-Gon earlier told Annie, just stay by me and you'll be safe no matter what. And now he's dead. So the man who saved him and gave him hope, saved him from being a slave, saved him from a shitty planet, he's gone. Annie is all alone. Of course, he'll have Obi-Wan. He's not actually all alone, but this is a huge loss for Annie. It's gonna missing his mother, and now this. It's way worse. So in these situations, that's when we need to have a strong ethos and stick to it, and not allow anyone, that guy over there, Palpatine, to play with our emotions, to exploit them, take advantage of them, to make us do something we might not want to do. And of course, Anakin will fail with this later. But
What will happen to me now?
actually, in that shot, Annie was pretty brave. He was genuinely curious. He wasn't so sad or this or that. So there's still hope. Annie is still doing great.
The Council have granted me permission to train you. You will be a Jedi. I promise.
But that's a terrible answer from Obi-Wan. He just says, yeah, you'll be a Jedi. You'll get your power. You get that stuff you want. little boy, no problem. He should have focused more on the fact that he would take care of him, not to be a Jedi, but as like a new father figure. That's what Annie really needs. And once again, this is why the Jedi lose the whole galaxy, is because they forget this grounded, down to earth ethos, which is super important. The friendship, the justice in the friendship that's established is the basement, the bottom to what's happening, and the ceiling that can happen in the whole relationship. And if you focus on these external things like, oh, you're a Padawan and then you'll be a Jedi, and we're friends and leader and follower and father figure and son figure, that's all secondary. That can work for adult men, but for little boys like Annie, in this situation, it's a terrible idea. We really need to take care of him and let him know he'll be safe, he'll be well fed, well protected. He has a new home with us. That should be the first thing we say in this situation. And yeah, the Jedi are already starting to fail. That's it. Anakin is already accepted as a Padawan. Yeah, of course I skipped over all the major plot lines of the movie. That's not what this is about. I just wanted to show how picture perfect Anakin is in episode 1. He's supposed to be as perfect as possible to make this, I guess, Shakespearean tragedy, if you will, as gripping and attractive as possible towards the middle of episode 3. Okay. Thanks, George Lucas. Yo, Ethos Ananda here. If you like this video even a little bit, subscribe, hit the bell, share, like, thumbs up. V for Vishnu. Peace.